Welcome everybody to Frequency Finder live podcast from the Output Festival 2025. My name is Paddy Craig. I'm going to be moderating this chat, so you're very welcome. First thing I'd like to say is this is one of the most exciting moments that I can have, where I nearly had a chat with four Matts. Nearly. Charlene Hegarty unfortunately is sick, so she had to drop out. We were going to ask another Matt to step in, but then that would be far too many Matts. So I wouldn't forget the names of anybody I'm talking to, which would be a bit mad. So first thing I want to start off is say thank you, Amy Carson, for jumping in as of yesterday to join us. So welcome, Amy.
Thank you very much.
So what I thought I'd do is the other three Matts, of course, will not blend into one. They've got their own very unique, special experience and talent. So I think I should stop speaking and we'll just ask them to introduce themselves very briefly. So can we start off with Matt?
Hello, I am Matt Mimford. I am Managing Director of Forfey, which is a production company based around the corner, up the road.
Brilliant, thank you. Matt?
I am Matt Evans, and I'm a keyboard player, piano player. I play in a band called Anna's Number, and I do some musical direction and some teaching on the side as well.
Fantastic, thank you. And then Matt?
My name is Matt Weir. I'm a producer, musician, songwriter, and I have a studio actually in the same building as Matt Mimford, so we're kind of neighbours, and he's my landlord.
Hi, yeah.
Yeah, and I have a studio in there that I work from. So,
brilliant, thank you. So, as you know, the theme of this discussion is thriving and surviving. Try saying that with your teeth in properly in the music industry, and it's really a chat about. Because I work with students a lot, and we're always having conversations about what's next after you finish. And this is a brilliant opportunity for us to have a discussion with basically a panel of experienced human beings who are in the industry doing what they're doing. And what I wanted to actually do is to start with Amy, because Amy's done something really unusual this year for the first time. She's been working with some very unusual people, Amy. So could you just tell us a little bit about what you do and what you've been up to?
Yes, so I not only I work with Factory 61, but then I do kind of freelance and events. And one of the people that I work with is Beat the Street. So Beat the Street is a touring and ground transport company, and I kind of freelance for them on site for events that they need some assistance with. So this summer has been a kind of chalk and cheese sort of event that I've been working on. So at the start of the summer, I was privileged enough to work on the Back to Beginning Ozzy Osbourne gig, which was a really cool experience to work with so many clients of Beat the Street. And then just last week, I was then over in Rome at the Vatican City working on the Grace for the World event. So this was a one-off event. The Vatican have never hosted a public concert in St. Peter's Square. And we were working with the production company Vada, and we were organising kind of transport for 400 odd choir members that were coming in from all over the world, plus all crew members and kind of A-list talent. So we were.
Pharrell Williams was there, yes. Pharrell Williams. You organised Pharrell Williams, didn't you?
Yes, I got him from A to B.
And anybody got a chance to see that? Was live on streamed on Disney Plus, but I don't know if anybody got to see it. But Pharrell Williams had gold teeth, and I was very concerned. Had he removed all his teeth and put gold in like Goldie did way back in the day? But it turns out that that's not true, Amy, isn't it? Right?
No, that's just for on-stage look.
Just for show. So there you go.
Just for show. It's okay.
Wonderful. So there's our intro. Thank you, panel. So we just need to get started. So I think the first question I have is really to do with that moment whenever you realised that you're now, not only are you making money from what you do, but this could be a potential career. I could actually keep doing this. Can you think of that when that moment was? Or was it a gig? Was it a show? Was it a particular artist? Matt, do you want to get us started? Can you think of something?
Yeah, well, I started as a musician. I'm still a musician, still tour with people and still gig with people. And the first time I remember being, it was maybe like 17 or 18, and a local artist that played in the Empire every Sunday night, a guy called Ken Haddock, who I had always gone and watched the band and looked up to, and was like, oh, that's so great. Those guys are awesome. He phoned me. I had chatted with him a couple of times, told him that I was a drummer, and if he ever needed a drummer, he could give me a call, you know. And never expecting to get a phone call. And I remember he phoned me and was like, "Are you free for a gig in the Empire on a Sunday night?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm absolutely free for that." And then I remember hanging up the phone and being like, "I wonder, do we get paid for this?" Do you know? And I remember speaking to my dad at the time and being like, "Here, should I ask him, do we get paid, or is that a bit presumptuous, you know?" So phoned him back and was like, "Yo, Ken, do we do this for free? Because it's totally cool if we do it for free. Like, I'll still do it, you know?" And he was like, no, you get paid. And I'm like, this is unreal. Like, this is
Happy days.
amazing. Yeah, which was incredible. And then so kind of starting there, I was like, well, this is great that you can make money from doing something that you love. And then from the studio side of things, it was more like for me, like being in a studio and being able to work in a studio was more like it always seemed quite unattainable, you know, because a lot of guys that did studio work, in my head, it was like either you play live or you play in the studio, and all the studio guys were getting booked for the studio gigs and whatever else. And similarly for, you know, wanting to make music with people, it's like, well, artists have songwriters that they work with, have producers that they work with, and it's like, well, how do you ever bridge that gap? And I remember doing a session in a studio that I worked in London, and I remember sitting there behind a console that I didn't really understand and listening to the most incredible, there were classical musicians from the LSO, and Julian Lloyd Webber was there. He's an amazing cellist, and I remember just sitting listening to these people playing music, and knowing that I was getting paid after this was just like, I mean, I would do this for nothing, but it was that moment where you're like, this is really special. This is really an important moment for me.
Want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt. Matt, your story, is it similar from the live sound production side of things, or?
I suppose I actually started my life as a musician as well. So similar kind of thing where I was around 20 and started touring and did that for about 5 years. And I suppose actually the funny thing was the money bit never really came into it except for making sure we were surviving. So it was kind of like, okay, can we pay the rent? Can we, you know, keep the car on the road? All this kind of like really, really basic survival kind of stuff. And we did it. You know, it was like DIY kind of approach much more than I didn't do any session musician work. So it was really interesting. Like, I found those years very formative because we didn't make any dough. That wasn't what the focus was. The focus was purely on the creative output and the experience of actually being in a band together. Those were the things that I kind of felt that have come into my kind of later career, which is the power of kind of like collaboration, community, and like being able to kind of like the cross-pollination thing was so important for me back then. The amount of like bands that we were friends with, and you're bouncing ideas off each other, and you're creating a network as well of like shows you can kind of grow, people you can kind of talk to, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, the moment when I went, I could make a living out of this, actually didn't come with the music bit. I was 24, 25 whenever we kind of started into the production stuff, and I do remember like first ever kind of like time somebody hired some speakers off us. But like that was kind of cool. I was like, oh, this is cool. And I was driving around like a Peugeot 106, and I had to get my mom and dad to come up in their like Ford Galaxy or something to get the subs in.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not the way to do this. But it was a start, you know.
Brilliant. Cool. Amy, is it for you?
Yeah, for me, the moment kind of came for me during uni. I remember doing some work experience with a stage manager, and during that event, multiple things had gone wrong, obviously, and I was just kind of helping make firefighting essentially, and it was part of my course. But I remember kind of afterwards, like messenger and thanking her for the opportunity, and from that I spawned an opportunity to work at a festival. She was all like, "Thank you so much for that job that you done. I have this other opportunity to work at a festival, and I can pay you." And it was like, "Oh, so I don't have to do this for free, and I can be a starving student and get a wee bit of money for it." So it was that there, and I remember that particular moment, I was working a normal part-time job, and the manager at the time was like, "We can't let you off for to do this festival because so many of the workers were going to the festival as punters, but it was too good of an opportunity to miss." So it was a real kind of moment where like, I don't want to work this part-time job. I want to do the cool thing in music. So I was like, okay, well, this is my last shift, so it is. So I'll see you later, and I'll go and do this really cool festival gig. And then from that there, it was just about kind of going above and beyond at every opportunity that I could, just to make an impression and make things stick. So then those kind of freelance opportunities came across more and more.
Brilliant, thank you. And then Matt, as a musician?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I really had a moment as such. My career in music kind of started a little bit delayed. I left school at 18 and then spent 6.5 years studying and researching in biology, and then decided I didn't want to do that. So in my mind, I took the plunge into full-time music in December 2019. Then we know what happened a few months after December 2019. Obviously, the lockdown was not really good for the live industry, but for my life, it was good because you had 2 years of 2 years of nothing happening, but also 2 years of no expectation of anything happening. If you were sitting around not doing gigs, that wasn't such a bad thing because there was no gigs happening. And then as we came out of lockdown, that process was so gradual that I was able to grow along with that. So it went from the end of lockdown with nothing happening to then really the industry not being fully back until maybe, I don't know, a year and a half or 2 years later. So my career was able to grow with that. So lockdown might have been great for everyone, but I think in my life it was probably, if it was going to happen anytime, it was a good time for it to happen.
It's nice to hear a positive story coming out of COVID, isn't it? From that point of view. So wherever you are now, if you were going to talk to your younger self, okay, at a kind of one of those key moments you've just identified, or maybe it was a different moment, what would you say to that person now that you've learnt that would be an important bit of either advice for activity or something to think of, something to be conscious of that you maybe weren't at the time? So you think about it now and you think, I've learned an awful lot about, I've learned an awful lot about all the mistakes that I've made, and one of them is to make sure that I ask, at the end of the gig, did that go okay? Are you happy enough with everything in case there was something missing, or, that kind of conversation? Is there anything for you that you would, if you met your younger self, that you would say, focus on that, or do a bit more of this, or don't do that?
I think the thing that I would tell my former self would be to trust yourself more.
Okay.
I kind of probably what I lacked in confidence, I made up for in drive.
Okay.
But I definitely second guessed myself a lot.
Okay.
And I think you kind of, I'm just trying to look back on it a wee bit. And what I was good at was kind of going, I feel like the right thing to do in this moment is this.
Yeah.
And whenever I kind of sat with it, doing the right thing was definitely the right thing.
Yes.
So, don't compromise the creative output, or stuff like, I want to be doing music full time, but actually I do still need to pay the bills, and how am I going to do that? So you kind of, that kind of decision making look like having a very friendly employer who I could go out on tour for 3 weeks, text them a Sunday night and go, hey, do you have any shifts this week? And you go, yeah, turn up. There's 3 days, and that was really good in that time.
Right.
So I think trusting the gut of do the right thing and kind of stay the course, that really has, it's been a really good thing for me.
Nice one. Thank you. Awesome. Anybody else?
Yeah, I feel like whenever you were saying about not compromising your creativity and your the way you do stuff, I feel like the one thing I would love to have known earlier is understanding like how you do one thing is how you do everything. Do you
Okay.
know, like regardless of what the task is in front of you, like you tip yourself into it. You
Okay.
focus on every detail, be it the smallest detail or like, you know, something that's glaringly obvious, you
Yeah.
know, and that you don't settle for the job just being done and somebody being like, it's fine, that's great, you know.
They have that classic Northern Irish phrase,
It'll-
it'll do.
It'll do, you know.
You
But
know?
I mean, it is one of those things. Like I feel like there's doing a job and there's getting something over the line, and then there's doing a job to the standard that you kind of develop throughout your career, you know, because you obviously you're always learning and always developing and always trying to be better. And but to whatever stage you're at, if you're trying to, you know, if you're just moving from, you're trying to get into a professional environment, it's like, well, you know, look at the standard that is around you and look at the benchmark that people are setting for you, and surround yourself with people that do stuff really, really well, and, you know, start there, but try and, you know, try and lock yourself into your own standard that is always getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
And always pushing to the point where it's like, well, okay, the last time I did it this way, but how can I develop this? How can I change it this time to make it
Okay.
even better this time? Do you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, either that or just don't do it and open a sweet shop, you know.
Well, plan B, right? What about you, Matt? What do you think?
I would say, really, it's almost impossible not to do this, but don't compare yourself to other people.
Okay.
Because, I mean, this is true in every walk of life, but especially in music, everyone has such a different background, and everyone has different ideas of where they want to get to. So if you spend time worrying about, oh, you know, me and this person started music at the same time, and this person's doing that, but I'm only doing this, well, who cares?
Yeah.
The only person you should compare yourself to is yourself. You know, what were you doing yesterday? What were you doing last week? What were you doing the year before? And just keep trying to better yourself on how you were a day, a week, a year ago. Because I think if you sit back and you look, what was Matt Evans doing 2 years ago? Well, hopefully what you're doing today is a better thing than that.
Nice one.
Just compare yourself to yourself and don't worry about anyone else.
Great advice. Nice one. Amy?
For me, I would probably say, and I say this quite a bit, is like, don't be precious about your own ideas. Like, let people into them. I think when we're young, we come up with these great ideas and we kind of want to die on that hill. This is the way we're going to do it. And then when someone comes with feedback, it can really knock us. I think being young and kind of coming into the industry, it was then a big shock that people were like, okay, there is another way to go about this. And you just have to be open to accepting like different ways of working and different ideas. But it all kind of adds to something like really creative. And kind of the beautiful thing about working in this industry is that there's so much collaboration. So don't be precious about your ideas. Work with other people, and yeah.
It's a great one. Nice one. Okay. Great. So there's a lot of gold nuggets right there, I think, in relation to kind of what's next. What would you say if we were talking about how you manage you now? Because life's complicated, right? It's busy. Just so that somebody who's a young musician can understand, whenever you've been around the stuff for a while and we've been doing the things we've been doing, there's a lot of things to juggle. There's a lot of activity that you need to manage, and that's just being a human being and being a father or a parent or whatever it is, as well as the day job. So, is there anything that you would say for you that's a successful way of being that you can manage yourself, because you've got lots of projects going on at the same time? I kind of know that you've all got lots of projects going on. So how do you manage that? How do you do that so that you're able to make it work?
I think knowing like what you can you kind of know yourself what you can take on and what you can handle on a practical level or on a work level, where you know you take on a job that is going to take, you know, on average X amount of hours, and you always kind of like oversubscribe that to be like, well, it's going to take a few more, so
Yeah.
here's, you know, here's how much of this time is, you know, of my time is going to be used up with, you know, so kind of not oversubscribing yourself, where you get to the stage that you don't do any, you may have, you know, 5 or 6 jobs on the go, and you know they're all fantastic, and you're the right guy for the job or the right girl for the job and the right person for the job, and you end up spreading yourself thin across the board, and nobody ends up happy, you know.
Yeah.
On a practical level, I think it's that, but I kind of feel like on a human level and on a day-to-day level, it's like, I think with your work and with your life and with whatever, it's kind of, it's trying to understand what you value in that, you know, in your work. Like what are the jobs that you want to do, and what's the time that what are the things that you want to focus on, you know? Because if you're like, well, I want to be an amazing vocal producer, I want to produce people's vocals, and that's what I want to do, but you're getting like, you're tipping yourself into jobs that are, you know, you're recording bands. It's like it's gonna start to wear thin on you eventually, you know. And then in the same time, it's like, well, in life, what's your priority? What's your focus? And for me, like, and this is kind of just the stage that I'm at in life. It's like it's protecting time with my family. You know, it's like I want to work as much as I can, but I don't want it to eat into the time that takes me away from being with my son, being with my wife. You know, being with the other members of family. And it's like, it's trying to establish for me that like the working is great, and you know, getting getting a job to do well and that you really enjoy and you really love doing is fantastic. And for me, it's that balance of like, I love getting up and going somewhere to, you know, to produce an artist or to write with an artist or to play with an artist. But for me, it's like, as soon as that starts to move into the territory of like, I never see anybody, or, you know, outside of that, it's like, I'm getting this wrong, you know. And that's not, that's for me. That's not going to be for everybody. Do you know, there are some people that what makes them, you know, really tick and like enhances their life is to be like, I have a friend of ours who tours all the time. He's never happier than he's on the road. And it's like, that's his thing, that he gets so much back from that. And you're like, well, if that's what, identify what that is and then go for it. Go hard after it, like, you know. So I think it's like identifying those things that are specifically what you want to do, and figure out a way of being able to do that, you know.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
I kind of think I loved listening to Maddie's chat there. That was great. It really was, because I think actually you have times in your life whenever you have things grab your priorities. You know, like for me, I've got 2 kids, and like I need to prioritize that. Like family is so important, but our business is super important as well. And if I want to look after the family, I've got to look after the business. And there's times that you have to kind of, okay, well, what I got to do to look after all of these things. And actually, one of the lessons that I've probably learned is you do not have to do everything. We have an incredible team, and I'm really grateful for them. But they have like probably spent the past 5 years trying to tell me to stop doing everything. And it's really liberating for me personally, because you finally accept that. But there are times also whenever you are at the start of your career and you do have to do everything, and that's okay. You know? But there will come a time whenever you can delegate. There will come a time whenever you can like go, okay, there's 3 people I trust fundamentally with every part of my business. I can disappear for a while. So I think, just knowing those different times in your life whenever you're going to have to like step it up a gear at home, you know, don't take the foot off the gas with that, but also like, you can't just say family is a priority and actually I'm going to forget about the business. You know, if you want to look after your family, you got to pay the bills. So
Nice one. Thanks.
I'm known for this in my various different bands and groups, and I'm saying this half jokingly and half not jokingly. Learn spreadsheets, learn how to keep a diary and keep notes.
Love it.
I've heard stories from other people about, just messing up a day because they didn't write something down. But as you said, life is so busy, and there's so many, depending on what kind of projects you work on, you're juggling so many different details, and that can take up a lot of headspace. But for me, if I write them down, I can forget about them until future me then looks at my diary and realizes there's something to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, organization is just, for me, so important. And I know it's everyone gets into music to be creative, but creativity needs to go hand in hand with the details and making things happen. And you don't want to become known for someone that drops the ball.
Yeah.
Because you could be the best songwriter in the world, the best instrumentalist, the best singer, or the best photographer, engineer, whatever in the world. But if you don't turn up to the gig or you're late, you're not going to get booked again.
Yeah. Great one. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I think just reflects of what everything's been said. I think when you are young, you don't have responsibilities in such a grand scale. So the opportunity to say yes, take it at every opportunity. Doesn't matter if you don't know what you're doing, figure that out later. But from that, you get to experience something cool, meet really cool people in the industry, build up those contacts. So then when it comes years down the line, you can then take not your foot off the pedal with work, but you can kind of be picky and be selective if it doesn't work for you. But I think kind of starting out for me, it was about saying yes and figuring it out later and not sleeping and all that there.
Yeah,
lovely
all
fun
that
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I would definitely jump in on that one and say yes. Any opportunity that presents itself, go for it. Do not promise something that you cannot deliver. You're going to land yourself in a lot of trouble, but you need to kind of take the opportunities when they come and go for it. And you just need to know, I don't know how to do this, but I know that I know someone who will help me. So don't go blindly into it, but people are incredibly clever, so you work it out eventually.
And this is it. Actually, I think, especially for those who are younger, one of the most important things you can do is build a community around yourself. Surround yourself with people who you think want to do the same kind of things as you do. Because when I look at the people above me who are most successful, they're not by themselves.
Yeah.
They've got a whole team around them. And it mightn't be people who, they mightn't work with them day to day, but, might meet for coffee once every few weeks or whatever, or just have the crack together. And there is a real synergy. Can't believe I'm using that word. Real synergy when you surround yourself. It's a slightly depressing fact, but I think the older you get, the harder it is to build a new community around yourself.
Okay.
I think, but I think when everyone's young, when everyone's in college or in university or just out of university, that's when it feels most exciting. I think that's when it's easiest to make those bonds and professional and social relationships and build your network well from the start. Because then actually, if you do find yourself on a job 6 years later and you need to do something, you have no clue how to do it, actually, the person you go for coffee with once a month did a job like that 2 years ago, and they can really help you.
Your network has become so vital.
Absolutely.
People, the other humans in your life, as you say, have got shared experience or as you say, different experience, can really make a difference. Brilliant. Okay, so I suppose the last point, because I'm going to try really hard to do this in time, because I always get told off for talking too much. If there was, or as it stands right now in Northern Ireland, because that's where we all are, right? So where are the opportunities? Where's the areas right now that you see that if you were thinking about getting into a particular world or developing a particular activity, what would it be? Where should we think about, or where our audience should think about, particularly the younger musicians, producers, promoters, engineers? Where should they be looking at or thinking about in a workflow point of view?
I'm always an advocate for live events, just because there's so much that is needed to make an event happen. And it means that you can do so many different skills, and one of them is probably going to be needed. I never thought that I would end up doing logistics for events, but actually being organized, knowing how to use a Google Sheet effectively is really a
Spreadsheets are
It's
there.
spreadsheets are there,
Spreadsheets.
yeah.
Getting the message here.
but like simple things that like you don't sometimes take for granted. That's what you do, and they feel a little bit like admin-esque. But I actually there's some of the fundamentals and cores to making a live event happen. And if you can do that in logistics, you can do that in production, you can do that in stage work, and those skills kind of fall across different areas. So live events would be
Awesome.
mine.
Thanks, Amy.
Yeah, I will second that. Yeah, we were kind of chatting about this in the office earlier. Basically, within the live event industry, there's so much capacity for work if you are kind of, I don't know, interested in that kind of line of work rather than actually being a musician necessarily. So like one department that's always crying out for people is riggers. So like if you've got a head for heights and you're happy to work hard, there's really good money in it and there's loads of need. If you are kind of just interested in kind of like working on gigs, like there's always opportunities for local crew, like in any kind of like the festivals, arena work, all that kind of stuff. And it's a great place to start because basically you're generalizing at kind of like the start of the industry, getting to see how gigs work and kind of going, kind of interested in lighting or interested in audio, video, whatever. And it's kind of like local crew is a great place to start with that. So like I kind of thinking of like, you know, people who are maybe coming out of education and kind of going, okay, well, what's next? That's an easy way that you can get into the industry if you're happy to just kind of like work hard. You know, it's not playing on stage or whatever, but it's like that is the bread and butter of like how you forge something that pays your bills.
Yeah. Nice one. Cheers.
I think from a musician point of view, two things. Just go to loads of gigs, especially gigs that happen in small venues. Like we're sitting in the OES Centre right now, which is like, I don't know, 200 cap or whatever. But go to those gigs, arrive early and stay till the very end and just hang around and have a chat to people. That's one thing. And then the other thing is do not be afraid to cold call or cold text or cold DM other musicians who you like the vibe of and you want to, you know, go for coffee with or have a writing session together. Don't worry if you've never done a writing session. Maybe they haven't either. Have the crack, play some music together. And actually that kind of goes back to what I said earlier about building the community around you. And actually, I think you also cold email anyone in the industry. People love being contacted. In terms of ego scratching. I mean, they might hate it, but actually, a little bit of them likes it. A little bit of them loves it, and they might say yes. I mean, our Bad Anna's number. We've done some shows in like Limelight and Ulster Hall and Mandela, and we get the odd email or Instagram, whatever, on our page asking, you know, is there a photographer, or videographer, and can they come down and shoot? And we're like, absolutely, love it.
Cool.
So don't be afraid to get in touch with anyone.
Brilliant. Thanks.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with what everyone has said, and I feel like though as well, like getting to a place where you can like embrace your individuality, do you know? Because I think that's what on a creative basis is like I think that's what culture loves is a new thing, new sounds, new ideas, and it doesn't come from like, oh well, here this person's doing that and then I can get on board with this or copy that or do whatever. It's like try and embrace your individuality and your own creativity and your own uniqueness of approaching things, how you approach them, and learn to be comfortable in that energy and in that place, because you know, I don't know. I think that's really important.
Yeah, because your own voice is,
Yeah.
so particularly from a creative perspective, because isn't that the thing that helps you get your creativity, you know, heard above the other 100,000 other releases per day that there are out there?
Yeah,
you know,
I
'cause it's
think
that
so.
uniqueness.
I think so. I think it's more just about having the space to express yourself, whatever that may be. If it's lighting somebody, if it's you know, mixing a show at front of the house, if it's producing somebody, if it's being an artist, if it's being a musician, it's like nobody needs carbon copies of 15 different, you know, 15 of the same. Like as a drummer, I loved Steve Gadd, and I'm going to play like Steve Gadd. So it's like, yeah, I can learn a lot from him, but you know, and as a producer, it's like, well, I hear things a certain way, and I want to hear things and approach things a certain way. So like double down on that, you know, and it's like, yeah, some people may respond to it and some people may not. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, at least it's you and you can kind of stand by it for better or for worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've used the word synergy once already, so I can use another horrible corporate term. Personal brand. This kind of adds on to what Matt was saying. Personal brand. You want to be known. You want to be known for your work. You know, because when you're playing professionally, everyone's really good at their instrument. Everyone's really good at lighting. Everyone's good at front of house. But some people are better at other things than other people are. So, you know, Matt Weir could be working on a song. Maybe it's a country song. Matt has 30 amazing guitarists who would all do a fantastic job, but he'll choose the person that is most known for that particular vibe of music. And so it's important that you yourself project what you want to be known for out into the world so that you can be at the top of people's minds when they're looking for a photographer that does really good live concert photography with flash for that kind of vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that leads from that is into reputation. So it doesn't have to be that you project what you want people to see on your social media, but actually within an industry that you can be known, okay, I have this kind of gig on, I need that type of engineer. I know that that's the right guy for that job. And like that, that takes time to forge. So I guess it's kind of like, you know, I was thinking about this kind of panel and going like, what are the things that really, like people should be really taking away? And I chatted to like a whole bunch of our freelancers and crew, and basically the whole thing was be trustworthy, be dependable, you know, don't be a prick, you know. And it's like,
That's the goal.
Listen,
basically just
I've heard
reputation.
Don't be a bell.
I've heard that twice today and in different contexts. Don't be a dick. It's really easy.
Absolutely.
Just don't.
I said prick because I figured it was a podcast, but hey, here we are.
We can bleep it out.
Don't worry, Matt will beep it out later. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
So,
The other Matt.
so really, it's your what is the old saying? Your attitude determines your altitude.
Ooh.
Yeah. So whatever you do,
They're going to put that up on like
How you do
someone's
it.
kitchen.
yeah.
Paddy Craig.
Absolutely. Great. Listen, thank you, everybody. I just want to leave some room for some questions. So before we do, could I just ask a big round of applause for our guest speakers? Awesome. So I wanted to just throw it to the floor and see if there are any questions in the room for the panel. I think we have a radio mic floating around somewhere. Here we go, just down here. Thank you. We'll just get a microphone so we can all hear you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Would you recommend doing any free gigs for people? Support.
Ooh, the old free gig. What do we think?
I was actually just in a talk this morning that I was listening to. A couple of friends were on the panel, and there's a really great producer called Chris Ryan who made this great point. Actually, he said that you shouldn't be expected to work for free, but you can offer to work for free. So if there's something that you really resonate with and you really, so just basically taking his answer for that. But I agree with him. It's like if there's something that you love and that you would love to be a part of, and you feel like it's appropriate to be like, well, I know that there's not a lot of budget around this artist or this event or this person or this whatever. It's like, yeah, like go and offer your services for free, because what you will get from that in terms of like soul food or something, or how that'll, you know, or as well, you know, it may be somebody that you want to connect with, you want to work with, and you see like a future with them, or you see a future in their career that, you know, you've done this for them, and maybe in a couple of years, whenever there is budget for something, that you'll be able to, you know, be taken along for the ride in that. But I think people approaching you and expecting you to work for free, I don't think is fair.
It's a different thing
Yes.
entirely.
That's my thought.
Anybody else?
There's one piece of advice that I was given very near the start of my career, and I think I use it every day, which is about the golden triangle of a job. So a triangle with 3 points, and each point is the people, the music, and the money, or the compensation. And it's helpful in any decision making as to whether you should do a job. So you need two of the points to be true. So you're given offered a job and it's really good music and it's really good money, but people are a bit meh, then you should probably take it. Or if you've got a job and the money's not great, but the music's really good, you really believe in it, and the people are great that you're working with, then you should take it. I mean, obviously you want all three to be true, but you can't have everything.
Next one. Anybody else?
No, I was going to say the exact same thing. The triangle is a really good analogy of it. So as long as 2 out of those three things like ring true, I would say take the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, my kind of thought on the live side of the industry would be you should not work for free. It is work. What you should consider, though, is if you are in education, placement. So, like, if you have placement opportunity, take it with two hands. If you get a placement opportunity, turn up to it like it's a real job. Do not turn up late. Get off your phone. Actually. And, don't flake. Basically, some of the best people we have had come through who have become part of our staff team have come through on placement. So, like, that is your moment to shine, and do that for free. Someone who runs a production company asks you to do a gig for free, like, they're just taking the piss.
Thanks. Great question. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Oh, got one down here. Just get the mic to you now.
From a musician's perspective, how do you get there? How do you go and book the gigs? Because it's all fair and well going to bars and places and saying, hey, can I play here? But that doesn't always work out. What do you do?
Okay. Tough one.
That's a hard question to answer. Are you looking more? What kind of area of music are you in?
I'm in like the rock genre.
Like original music, or cover, or just everything?
Bit of both.
I think you need to. I think the law of large numbers. It is tough starting out. But the more people you ask, the more likelihood of someone saying yes. And then this is where developing your professional and social circle comes into it, because you can only ask so many people in a week, but the 3 or 4 people you might be in a band with can also ask 50 different people. And it might feel like it's taking a long time, but it will happen someday, I believe. And you mightn't realize it. You might actually look back in 3 years' time and go, oh, yeah, 3 years. And this is comparing yourself to yourself 3 years ago. 3 years ago I had nothing. 3 years now I'm pretty busy with work. I would just keep going with it. And also you're so young. If you're 18, you might feel like you've got to make everything happen in 2 or 3 years, but I'm 30 now.
So old, Matt.
So
old. I'm 41.
Things take time to happen, and it's not a race. It's absolutely not a race.
The other bit I'd chip in on that one, this is from my past life as a musician, was we moved over to Glasgow and based ourselves out of there, and I can remember going around every venue in Glasgow and asking for gigs, and there was this terrible venue called Rockers, and it had like all the things you'd imagine, like signed drum skins and all this kind of stuff. But I just remember rocking up and being like, can you give us a gig? And they were like, aye mate, there's a open on a Wednesday night. So we just took the gig, and that's you can just, I don't know, take the bull by the horns and go for it. Develop some thick skin and be prepared to hear a few no's. But the other thing is as well, if you're young, you got a band, you got a bunch of mates, go find a venue and just book it yourself. Sell your own tickets, do your own shows. If you can manage to drum up 50 people at like 10 quid a pop, not a bad move. And if you can do that once, you can do it 3 times, you can do it 3 times, you can do it 10 times. And that's a good skill set to learn, because what you learn as a musician, you may not become a professional musician or work within the industry for your entire career, but you're going to learn these skill sets as a musician that will spur you into the later part of your life. That's basically what I did. So,
yeah, if you're sitting around and you feel like nothing's happening, don't expect that. Don't expect that anything's going to change. Just take the initiative and make it happen yourself, and that can actually be the strongest foundation to your career. Because if you build it yourself, then you're in control and you can make it happen, and that sets actually broadcast yourself in a really good light to the rest of the industry.
I think it is it's so frustrating. It's really difficult to do, and it's so disheartening. And but you need I think the one thing about the music industry and about any industry that you want to succeed in is like determination and resilience, and you'll get 50 no's for every one yes, you know, and then you'll get 50 no's for every 2 yeses, and you just keep keep moving forward as best you can in the direction that you feel is the way you want to go. And like, you know, like Matt said or whatever, if you want to do shows, try and book a show yourself and see how that goes. And if it goes horribly, then you'll know for the next time to not do that, you know. And the whole thing is a really frustrating puzzle. It genuinely is, like, because there's no one way of just being like, well, hey, actually here's how you do this, and then it's like cracked and you're now getting gigs that you want to do, you know, because like Beyonce still hasn't phoned me, you know. So
she must have got the wrong
She's
map.
had your number for ages,
and she has.
Mate, she rang the landline the other day. Like, you were right.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? No, it's like you, head down, forward, and if you get brick walled at any stage, turn that way and go that way and see what happens. And then if you get brick walled there, it's like, well, try that avenue, you know. And there's no, unfortunately and frustratingly so, there's no here's how you do that in a 3-step piece of information, you know.
And there's no finish line either.
Aye.
Some say, have you made it? Well, what is it? You know, you might have a goal in your head and then you reach that goal, but then you realize you want to be somewhere else. I think the main goal is just be happy where you are and don't compromise yourself creatively. Be proud of everything you do. You know, if you take a job, do it to your best of ability and don't let yourself down.
Sound advice. Thanks. Anybody other questions? Oh, one down here.
Thank you. So obviously in the last 25 years or so, the Irish music scene, especially internationally, has been growing rapidly in popularity. Do you, as you are in the music scene, do you feel a plateau coming in the foreseeable future for that popularity?
There's a question.
Ooh, that's a great question.
I think everything kind of has its season, so it does. And I think maybe, naturally it'll kind of tail off and something new will come along. But I don't think the Irish music industry is going anywhere. I don't think it's ever going to be overshadowed by anything. It's always going to be quite strong. But I think it's like a season thing. And just in this moment, there is lots of stuff coming out of this island, which is great. And we kind of all get to piggyback off that a little bit and be all like, yeah, we come from that place too, and we do really cool creative things. And it is great that we have so many amazing creatives kind of flying that flag and making noise, which is the most important thing, to remind other people that, we're here. We might be small and it's a small industry, but we do really cool creative things.
This actually came up in a panel earlier on, and we were thinking about what is the shape of Belfast's music industry over the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years, or Northern Ireland's music industry, or Ireland's music industry. Has it grown? We had U2, and we had Snow Patrol, lots of indie bands with guitars. Now we have, it seems like we're a rap country now. So there has been different seasons of stuff. 10 years time, we don't know what the genre will be. I will say though, if you can bring Irish trad into any part of your artistry, if you can play a trad instrument, or if you can collaborate with Irish traditional musicians, you will have employment infinitely. Because the one market,
always work.
the one market in Ireland that has not ever dipped, I think, is the Irish trad market. It's probably the most commercial output from here. I would do that, even if you're going to be wind up playing on cruise ships for 50 years. But you can't knock that either. You can't knock that.
No, absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, I don't see a plateau coming. In a way, the whole thing comes and goes in waves. You get some years where there's a whole bunch of activity, maybe looks like a bunch of commercial success, whatever, but I don't know, the thing that I've seen is that you kind of get pockets of people who all collaborate together, and maybe somebody's kind of just naturally a big push kind of comes. So I don't see lack of fire within people, if you know what I mean. Like whenever there's a bit of passion and drive and determination, and a fire under the arse, then like actually people will create, and then there'll always be a way to try and actually create a commercial angle that to make it viable, you know. So yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
Absolutely.
I hope not.
It's
I really
interesting.
hope there's no plateau.
Yeah, I mean, it was just something to do. I was just reminded there of the Northern Ireland Music Prize that exists at the moment, and I'm lucky enough to be on a group of people that help sort of shortlist some of that stuff, and it's phenomenal that there are every year there's 100 singles released from that list in Northern Ireland and 80 albums. If you get that number for a second, that's creative energy going in every single year. And it's been a similar number over the last few years, which I think is a really great indicator as to kind of how that creativity is continuing to flow and flourish, which is a great way to leave this, I think. So, ladies and gentlemen, could you please put your hands together for our amazing panel? Awesome. Nuggets of wisdom all around. So thank you guys for all your help, especially Amy for dropping in last minute. And I look forward to listening to our Frequency Finder podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you very much. Good night. Good afternoon. Good morning. You've been listening to a Factory 61 produced podcast.